Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
I want to focus on the things that have made us good all year long, and intensity that they can't match. And the other thing is the ultimate disrespect is when somebody takes what's yours. And this is our game, so that makes it so personal. Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3, dominate.
I need 60 minutes. 60 minutes of me. 60 minutes. No business, no mercy. Nothing but stop on the blood bubble. You got me. We're going to ring the bell. We're going to ring that championship bell. Ding, motherfucking dog.
The orange ball is on Mitch Jeter's leg. Good snap, good hold, kick on its way, and the kick is good! Yes! Mitch Jeter, with 7 seconds left, gives the Irish a lead, 27-24. Notre Dame is on the precipice.
Notre Dame has won the Orange Bowl.
3rd and 16. Mahomes roll it out. Looking, firing, intercepted. Picked up by Cooper DeJean. Gets a block. DeJean is in. Touchdown.
The Philadelphia Eagles have won Super Bowl 59. They have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs.
And now, welcome everyone to the Huddle Up Podcast.
You are looking live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, Huddle Up Podcast. It is Thanksgiving week. We are thankful for you. We are thankful for this show. We are thankful for football, and we are going to talk about it for the next little bit. If you're with us live, give us a like, give us a share. We would certainly appreciate that. Make sure you are following along all of our social channels throughout the year at Huddle Up Podcast on YouTube, Facebook, Blue Sky, TikTok, and Twitter. You can get us at Huddle Up Podcast Inc. on Instagram. You can get us at Huddle Up Inc. on Twitch, where we do stream weekly. You can hit the QR code in the top right corner of your screen. That'll get you to our link tree. That'll get you everywhere, all those social channels, the podcast feeds, and much more. So certainly do head over there, get onto those. You can see an example of some of our merchandise that we have on our TeePublic store. And I believe some sales going on as the preparation for the holiday shopping season. So grab your Huddle Up gifts. I would certainly appreciate that. You can hit the QR code now that is changed there. That'll take you directly to the store. We have some new offerings, some old offerings. So make sure you head over there. Check it out. Devin here in the comments going on, Devin. And so, yeah, just me and Sean again this week. I think EJ has started his holiday early, so you can decide for yourselves if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not going to talk bad about the guy on holiday week, but
it's a week to be thankful. Just throwing it out
it's a
there.
Week to be thankful. We'll leave it at that. Sean, how we doing, bud?
Well, we're doing, off work for the week. Obviously, school closed for the holiday. Getting some extra family time in. So, that's unfortunate, but at least there was football and we got some hockey going on. Fortunately, I did not buy tickets. I did not get tickets to see the Flyers down here. This was their only game down here this week, and it just didn't work out. And from the looks of things, it didn't work out. So probably would have been the best. Would have been 2 years in a row without a goal by Philadelphia. So probably for the best that we
not great, Bob.
Yeah. I heard there was a pretty good scrap though.
We just got our ass totally kicked.
It's kind of what happened. But things are looking up for the Fly guys, so I'm not going to fret on it too long. We'll just hope for the next one to be a little better.
Yeah, definitely. I think exceeding some expectations early on for them, but certainly more hockey in front of us than behind us, which is always a good thing. But yeah, Thanksgiving week, and again, thank you everybody for tuning in throughout the season. Mike checking in with us. He said, "Happy Thanksgiving, boys. Have a night, and the Chiefs still suck." Well, I certainly hope they suck for one more week. We will talk about that in our NFL preview for the week, and that is certainly the hope in this house as we go into week number 13 of the National Football season. Those predictions coming up here in just a little bit. But yeah, lots to talk about. Another busy week, Sean. So let's jump right in.
It's the best of the week. The best of the week.
As we do each and every week, to kick off the show, we look back at the week that was, and we look at the best of the past week in football and in sports. And then Joey B returning this week for the Bengals. Maybe that's the best. Maybe that's the best for Mike this week. So I won't actually be previewing that game, but certainly a big one there in the north.
Sure is.
And pretty much must-win territory at this point for the Cincinnati Bengals, but nothing new for them over the past couple of.
I feel like it's always must-win for Joey B. So
it seems to be. But Sean, what was your best from the past week?
Well, I mean, a lot of times, and I'm going to mention two guys just because I feel like we always kind of try to pick through and find like a feel-good story or a some diamond in the rough kind of thing, and that's just how a lot of us like to roll, and I think it's more fun. But being that this season none of us have mentioned Jackson Smith and Jigba as your best of the week, what has come this week as what feels like just business as usual, and maybe that's why we ignore him. Just a simple 8 catches for $167 and 2 scores. Not a bad week, Ironically, probably not his best, but not a bad one to say the least. And I'm going to go ahead and throw one out there to a fellow playing in the Motor City. That Jahmyr Gibbs, I think he might work out. I think that kid might turn into something special.
I won a fantasy matchup by less than 0.7 of a point, and I think that Jahmyr Gibbs in his I think it was 50.45.
I had one league where he was in the high 40s and another where he was in the mid 50s. So he 219 and 2 scores with another 45 and a score through the air.
Well, those two guys, Sean, those two guys that you just mentioned, Jackson Smith and Jigba and Jahmyr Gibbs, were about 81 points of the 127 that I scored.
So team Gib Jigba.
Yeah. Bryce
Gib
Young.
Jigba. That's just one name.
Bryce Young with Justin Herbert on a bye. Bryce Young was my only other player who had double digits at 10.88.
Man. Well,
and
fortunately for you have those guys. Maybe your bye week fill-in should have been my slightly deeper, my actual best of the week. I'm going to go back to a fella I pointed out in week 1 or 2. Keep in mind, we all know your best of the week is sitting right here in front of you. We're very aware that the two of us on your screens and in your ears, definitely your best of the week. But we're just giving you ours because we listen to ourselves all the time.
That's right.
But I'm going to go back to a fella I named at the beginning of the year that I really was pulling for. And I'm going to go with Cam Ward. It was a losing effort against Seattle, but in a 3-score hole in the late third quarter. Yes. Well, he wasn't this week.
He was.
And they're down their number 1 wideout in Calvin Ridley, who may never play again, and down one of the rookies as well. So only Shamir Dyke and Van Jefferson as like regular names that he's seen. Engineers a 256-yard effort with 1 score, no interceptions against the Seahawks defense. And he put his team in an opportunity. Now they would have required an onside kick, which they did not get. But they made a run and were 1 possession hypothetically away from taking the lead in that ball game. So, shout out to Cam Ward. Just want you to know we noticed the effort you put in.
Keep in mind that's against the Seattle defense that had some people believing that Sam Darnold was a top 12 quarterback this season.
Yeah, some people did believe that.
So, getting into that position against that defense is no simple task.
Nope. That's my best of the week.
There you go. Yeah, that matchup that I won. I mean, the guy I went against had stellar performances from Emmanuel Wilson, the Browns defense and Dak Prescott, but the rest of his team, of course, fell pretty short as well. It was a big stinker, but I managed to pull out the W there. From the comments here, Devin, the best of the week, he has to give it to the Lions kicker for kicking that field goal to send it to overtime. And yeah, did you see the actual like English on that ball? It came out and it started curving right. It was from the right hash and it started going wide and then turned back in. It was the wildest and indoors,
Jake
no
Bates.
wind.
Jake Bates.
Jake Bates to do that. Mike's best, John Matthew Stafford, his vote for NFL MVP. Certainly hard to argue against it right now. Stafford absolutely rolling.
Well, and that's, I mean, going, I was going to preview that a little bit when we got to our top 10, but since it's on the table, I was going to make that a point of my own.
Yeah.
Also, that, all the early season Josh Allen talk and like, oh, it should be Jonathan Taylor and it should be, this person should be up for it. Meanwhile, Matt Stafford just keeps throwing 3-4 touchdown, no interception efforts every week. No picks, 4 touchdowns. It's pretty good.
Yeah, my best, and it's a rare opportunity for me to have a double homer sitting in front of me for my best of the week. But here we are. I will give an albeit brief shout out to starting quarterback of Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott, 354 yards, 2 touchdowns, passed Tony Romo for the highest passing yards in Dallas Cowboys franchise history. Does it at home, obviously, in a big and probably must-win situation for Dallas against Philly this past week. But my actual best of the week, and dear God, it's the rumor is they just scored again, actually. But Notre Dame, a dominating and historic performance against an ACC opponent, Syracuse, and I only point that out because of the absolute lunacy of the ACC and their football social media accounts trying to go scorched earth PR campaign to try and get Miami in. Spoiler alert, they're still behind Notre Dame. We'll talk about that in a second. But 35 points in the first quarter, the most by any Notre Dame team in a first quarter of play. 21 points before the offense even had the ball. 2 pick sixes and a blocked punt return for a touchdown. En route to a 70-7 victory. I think the widest margin of victory ever in Notre Dame Stadium. The first time they cleared 70 since like the 30s or so. I lost track of the number of stats. I should have written
they were just
them all
crushing
down. But it was probably, I won't say the most fun, because I think some wins over like our historic rivals like USC and stuff have been more fun to actually witness those tight matchups, especially if we've broken the losing streak against them. But in these kind of like B-level matchups, this was by far the most fun Notre Dame game I've ever watched in my life, because it was just like, it was the game that we've always seen other teams have against lesser than opponents. Right. And for so many years, we have seen Notre Dame like play down to their opponent and this and that. But they came out, and honestly, in a week where I don't think Marcus Freeman, obviously a tremendous guy, stand-up person, great ambassador for Notre Dame, but he's 38 years old. He's less than 20 years out from playing this game.
Right.
And he knows, even if he doesn't put it out publicly, and this is just me talking, he knows when there's chatter in the media and quote unquote disrespect, and the ACC's talking up, and there's all these people in the media going, well, head to head, Miami beat Notre Dame, they should be higher, this and that. Freeman knows when to kind of flip that switch and be a little bit petty and keep the pedal down. And he knows that the ACC's been running their mouth. We're playing an ACC team. We're gonna embarrass them a little bit. And I think you're gonna see that potentially this Saturday, hopefully, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time kickoff.
Well, I think you saw it against Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
I
I
think you're
know it
gonna
wasn't
see
as
again.
wide of a margin as some thought, but you saw the spread number, and being able to push that, and like the foot was never off the gas in that game.
No, and I think you're going to see that again against Stanford. Not only is it an ACC opponent, it's a common opponent with that Miami team. So was Syracuse. Pitt and Miami played.
By the way, James, how did Miami do against Syracuse when they played?
Well, they didn't score 70.
No, I didn't think so.
It was
just double
38
checking
to
that.
10, I believe. It's
Yeah.
not a bad victory, but
I won. Good work.
But I think you're going to see that again. It's also Notre Dame's last show of the resume because they don't have that conference championship.
Correct.
So
Correct.
hopefully we'll see a big one out there. But yeah, just a wild performance. If you want to see any of the highlights of that, Notre Dame social media did a great job recapping the first 15 minutes of that.
Yeah, you probably have to split your highlight reels up just for streaming
first
purposes.
quarter, everything else, just Jeremiah Love, who should be the Heisman front runner. But that's another side point.
All you need is Love
that you won't get into. But there was obviously another busy week in the world of football. So, Sean, let's dive right into the college football playoff rankings, fresh off the
hot off the press here. Yeah, let's take
right off the press. And we will start with kind of a surprise. A couple of teams that weren't in the AP poll, but find their way back into the top 25 by the committee. Arizona in at 25, Tulane 24. Georgia Tech hangs in at 23. Pitt back in there 22 with their win over Georgia Tech. SMU at 21. Arizona State 20. Rounding out the rest of the 16 through 20s, Tennessee, Virginia, USC, and Texas falls to 16 despite a victory. Michigan moves ahead of Texas into the 15 spot. And then we have Vanderbilt, Utah, Miami, BYU, and then your top 10, Alabama, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Oregon, your top 5 unchanged, Texas Tech, Georgia, Texas A&M, Indiana, and Ohio State. Anything surprise you, Sean?
No, I always think it's good when SMU's good, so I'm happy to see us here. I don't know that I would have vaulted Michigan there, but with a matchup against Ohio State, you want them as high as possible, I suppose. Doesn't really change anything. If they win, they're going to fly up the charts.
Right.
Miami just hanging around. Yeah, I don't know. Nothing super. I'm surprised Utah only moved as low as they did.
Yeah.
I thought they would fall a few more. Well, I wouldn't have been surprised if Michigan had also leapfrogged them and Vanderbilt. I would not have been surprised to see Michigan one away from like a hypothetical top 12 going into that matchup. That's probably the only thing that's surprising to me is, I'm surprised Michigan jumped some teams, but not surprised they didn't just push it farther.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, a one of their more convincing victories of the season, albeit on the road at Maryland, but looked to be one of the more complete games they put together, and quite frankly, at the right time. The freshman really freshman heavy team starting. I think.
I guess one thing that just seems odd is like kind of this like spattering of ACC and like smaller conference schools. Like when you get to the bottom 5 to 10. I don't know if it's like we got to have them down here in case they're the highest ranked, variable. I don't know if it's typical. I don't recall. Now Georgia Tech hanging in there. Pitt usually, I guess, hangs around. But the two lanes, Arizona, good for them, I guess.
Yeah, snuck back in with a big win this past week. Pitt had fallen their way out after the loss to us. They find their way back in with the win over Georgia Tech, who I think was in that 15 or 16 spot.
Yeah.
Last week. So Tech
always a soft spot for the Arizona Wildcats and their I just always think it's good when Arizona's good at anything. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean I'm fine with it. I don't see any major surprises. But if we take a look at the playoff, I'm curious to see. I assume that means BYU's still out.
Yeah,
when we get to
BYU
playoff time.
and Utah, the first two teams out. So your buys do not change from last week, and are basically unchanged except for the 4 spot. Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, and Georgia would have your buys. Tulane, by way of the highest projected non or fifth conference champion, would be your 12 matchup. They get Texas Tech at 5. Your 6-11 matchup, currently Oregon and Miami. So despite all of their complaining, guess what? You're there. Miami! You got it. You're there. Your 7-10 matchup would be Ole Miss taking on Alabama. And your 8-9 matchup would see Notre Dame traveling to Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
It's the same matchup we saw last week for Notre Dame, right? Theoretically.
Yes. Yeah. That didn't move. The only thing that moved or any changes were the 5-12, the 6-11, and I think that was it. I think Bama was at 10 last week. So so no movement there. So not a lot of changes, but Miami would be in this week.
The U versus the O, I guess, is where we're at.
It's
here.
the U versus the O, and I think what Cristobal was the former Oregon coach. So
I don't know if they call themselves the O, but I think they should.
They should.
I
think
like,
they should.
I feel like the O, just that's dope. Let's just go with that.
Yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun. So what I think is interesting is for the first time the committee, when they're kind of ranking teams on the same level as they say it, Notre Dame, Alabama, Miami, BYU were all in the same pool. And of course, as you can see, Notre Dame still on the top there. And because that's been the arguing point, Sean, is should Notre Dame be ahead of Miami? Because of course Miami had the head-to-head win.
Right.
Let's remind everybody, a 3-point win now 12 weeks ago at the end of August, where Miami kicked a field goal to take the lead with a minute to go. So it was a back and forth game. And this is a Notre Dame team with a brand new defensive coordinator, a lot of new guys on defense, redshirt freshman quarterback making his first start on the road at night in the rain. It's not about excuses. We lost the game.
Right.
But,
I mean, that's a lot of things that sound like it is, but I don't think that's your point. It's not to make an excuse for the loss. It's simply being like, here's some actual reasons you might have won, besides simply being better that day. Like this may have played into it a skosh,
And what I think it shows too, and not only is Notre Dame ahead of Miami, right? Notre Dame is also still ahead of Alabama, who has a stronger resume by victories.
And I've heard the argument for Alabama there, and I mean I'm not saying they don't have a case. They by all means have some big wins. A win at Georgia that they love to hang their hat on here. You know what I mean? Obviously, but I mean you also have a loss to Florida State. I mean that's not great, and like I understand that it's a top 12 and it's rankings and it hurts our feelings if we don't have a home game and whatever else. But it's always been, there's just some rules in sports that you don't disobey and you try not to fall victim to. You don't bet on baseball and you don't lose football games in late October and November. You can't do it in college football. You have a little bit of give here. And the top 12 has caught Alabama. That net has caught them.
Right.
And to this point has caught Miami.
Mm-hmm.
You can't drop these bad games late. It's too detrimental. You don't have time to prove that it was an anomaly or that it was just growing pains or it was whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's just the way it is. And so just shut up about it.
Yeah, and I think that's the valuable thing too, is they're looking at everything, because they look at the fact that Notre Dame lost 12 weeks ago and 11 weeks ago. And since then, they have won 9 games in a row. They are winning by 2 to 3 scores on average. They probably closer to 3 or 4 scores after what they did to Syracuse. They're dominating people. They're doing to teams what the SEC and what the top Big Ten and the top Pac-12 teams have done for decades. That's what Notre Dame's doing to their opponents right now. They're absolutely clobbering them. And whether they're a lesser than opponent or not, I mean, Pitt, we can disagree if Pitt should be ranked or not. Maybe they shouldn't be because the ACC is not very good. But it's a win over a top 10, a top ranked opponent. When you look at the top 25, Notre Dame has beaten USC as well. So they've beaten 2 ranked opponents. They've again lost by 4 points to the top 2 of the top 11 teams in the country, including one that's sitting with a bye week. So when you look at the whole resume, yes, there's 2 losses there, but there are also a lot of really good wins. And that's what the committee recognizes. And they recognize.
Well, I heard someone going off about a strength of schedule. Like, oh, we heard the committee was going to factor in strength of schedule and how you look at Alabama with wins over Tennessee and wins over this and like they're tracking down the wins and they're like, Notre Dame doesn't have any. They're like, we'll give you maybe USC, but watching Notre Dame come out and just pummel a bunch of high school teams was like this argument on the radio I was listening to. I almost turned it off, but it was just this person trying to like sell how bad the rankings are because Notre Dame is there, because it's a sleepy season against bad opponents. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, well, you're not tearing down any of these other teams either. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, Alabama's gone through the gauntlet, but I don't know that Georgia necessarily has. You know, they've played Alabama and lost. You know, people, and what killed me is they were like tearing down Notre Dame's strength of schedule, but then like praising Alabama for wins at Missouri and Vanderbilt. And I'm like, okay, look, that's no different than Pitt or USC. Like it's probably worse because Vanderbilt's just inflated because they're not playing a great chunk of these awesome. Right, and they're not playing the best of the best in the SEC, and they're just kind of like, we have an SEC schedule. No, you don't. There is no SEC schedule anymore. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia's best win is Ole Miss, so you know, give them
that's a solid one. Take that.
But yeah, they have a loss to Alabama. Ohio State hasn't played anybody.
No, absolutely zero.
Like, if you want to talk resume, and neither, quite frankly, neither really has Indiana. I mean, they beat Oregon.
People talk Texas for a while, and that nobody mentions that anymore.
Right, like Texas was ranked number 1. Cool. Preseason rankings never.
Right. I think that's one where everybody's just been. Well, we had that wrong.
Right.
Oops.
And then since then, the only team that was even ranked when they played them was Illinois, who has not been seen in the rankings since before Halloween. So,
well, and I've heard people still talk. It's like, well, they had that big win at Penn State. Like, I'm like, no, you can't. You don't get.
No, yeah, no.
Like, I understand that that's a rivalry question mark, and that Penn State was also ranked fairly high at the beginning. But like, no one's going to talk about this season for Ohio State the way people do. Like when Notre Dame sets their schedule 5-6 years out,
right?
And it has solid opponents. Like when they're like, all right, Clemson, you know, and then like Clemson just has like 4 crummy years.
Right, like Notre Dame sets a 10.
And everybody's like, oh, you guys don't schedule anybody. You know, like
the bottom falls out.
You know, we did it with Virginia Tech for 2 years where we scheduled them and then they just fell into the toilet for those, you know, it wasn't the opponent we thought it was going to, but you can't change it. It's not like you can like be like, well, this team's not good anymore. Can we switch that? You can't. It's contract.
Well, last year, Notre Dame was supposed to play Miami, and Miami backed out right before the season. So, you know, we can't control what other teams do. We can only control what we do, and obviously we're winning a lot of games. But yeah, I mean, and again, these are going to shake up again. The number 3 team plays the number 16 team. The number 1 team plays the number 15 team. We're literally about to preview 6 games. Of team. I think it's the most we've done this year so far.
It's a lot.
2 teams in the top 25 that are going head to head. And maybe there won't be any upsets. Maybe there won't be any. We'll come back next week. Everything will be chalk.
Right here where we are. Yeah.
We'll be basically right back here where we started from. But if this season has told me anything, That's probably not going to be the
Probably
case.
not. Yeah, no.
That's probably not going to be the case. Any other thoughts on this week's rankings? Sean?
Well, the interesting thing that'll really fire them up is if one team ahead of Notre Dame crumbles.
Mm-hmm.
Then Miami and everybody else is going to get real loud because Notre Dame, presumably, if they slide up, go from traveling somewhere and playing a first-round playoff game to hosting a first-round playoff game. And I think people will lose their minds. And I look forward to it. I think it's going to be a real fun show. And don't worry, guys, I promise. I mean, I can't promise for both of us, but to the listeners out there, if the rankings stay pretty much the same, we'll try not to repeat this Notre Dame conversation next week. We'll try to just it'll probably be a very fast.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, if it doesn't shift, we promise not to dwell on things. But we got some nerves have been struck, and we
had some airings of grievances.
We got to get this stuff
We got
out.
some Festivus airing of grievances out early.
Right.
I think the two matchups, and it'll kind of help transition us to previewing the matchups. I think the ones that could potentially have the most impact on what we see with these rankings next week, in terms of volatility. Obviously, if Pitt beats Miami, Miami's done for. But the ones that could create the most volatility in these rankings next week is Texas A&M, Texas, and Ohio State, Michigan, because those would be upset victories over two of the top three teams, and you want to light the fuse on craziness. That's how you really do it.
I still feel like Texas is the more, I don't want to say more likely, but definitely just one of those things that feels like it should happen. Like it just feels like it's gonna.
Well, let's do it. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. Let's talk about those matchups in the top 25 this weekend, Sean. We will start. We got 3 Friday games this week. If you're not working, get in front of your TVs, because we got college football, we got NFL football. We start 3:30 Eastern time on Friday on ABC. It is the number 4 Georgia Bulldogs, and I do have
Georgia.
They are 10-1. They are a 13.5-point road favorite at number 23 Georgia Tech, who is 9-2. Your over/under on this one, Sean, is 59.5.
Yeah, I'd like to make a push for maybe having a few Georgia ones, so we don't know what's coming. You could easily on that midnight train to Georgia. I'd love that, but no qualms with Ray. Look, Georgia Tech, you're an ACC team, so nobody really knows what to think. You're ranked. Good for you guys. You got great uniforms, nice color scheme. I'm sure you got a whole bunch of real solid players down there. Here's the bad news. While you're out there celebrating your ranking and, hey, we're having a pretty good season, you're about to get a visit from, like, arguably the team in college football that just for some reason can't beat Alabama and otherwise beats everyone else. You're everyone else. I don't think this game is going to be close. I've seen some fight out of Georgia Tech, but nothing that shows me that they would scare Georgia for 4 quarters. If the rivalry card plays in, I would say 13.5 that could be your play. If you're really a sick gambler and you want to take Georgia Tech to cover 13.5, there's going to be a lot of red.
But a degenerate.
There's going to be a lot of red shirts at that game. I don't think it's going to feel like a Georgia Tech home game. I say Georgia, in what feels like a home game, steamrolls Georgia Tech. I'm taking them with the points, cover it all, and I'm taking the under. I don't think Georgia Tech scores enough points to push 60. I actually
apologize. This one is at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where the
okay, so neutral site, definitely.
It's not even a home game for Georgia.
Nope, definitely a Georgia home game. Then
yeah,
you don't even get the benefit of that. So yeah, Georgia, cover everything, but keep it under, because Georgia Tech, it's going to be too big of a show for them, I think.
Oof. I might go a slight over because I think Georgia might score enough that like the 7 that Georgia Tech scores will be enough to push it over. But that's
something
a tight,
in the 50 to 13 realm, something like that.
that's a tight line. I think I would probably stay away from that. Otherwise, I think you can take Georgia comfortably. Like Georgia Tech probably shouldn't even have been ranked. Like this was one that I had on my maybe list because I didn't know that if the committee was going to keep them in. They did. That they won't be here next week. Georgia Tech's going to get mauled. Yeah, Georgia easily, a slight over. Devin has Georgia in the over as well. I should hit. I keep forgetting. Let me. Georgia. Good job. All right. Then we go 7:30 Eastern time on ABC. It's the number 3 Texas A&M. They are 11-0, a 2.5-point road favorite at number 16 Texas, who is 8-3. 51.5 is your over under, Sean.
2.5.
That's disrespectful to Texas.
I would like Texas in the betting lines if they had made this spread what it should be. If this was I'd say 6 to 7.5 point spread for A&M on the road, it would feel more realistic. And I'd be like, Texas is probably going to keep this close and cover it. I think what you said about Coach Freeman and like willing to throw out some spite and like just really rub it in the faces of some people and not take your foot off the gas. I think A&M in the middle of this run has shown a couple examples of that, and I think this could be another opportunity for it. I would not be surprised. Just the way the college football gods have worked this year and in our lifetime, and how much they wear the horns, and they love Texas wherever those gods live. I would not be surprised if Texas wins this game. So Matthew McConaughey, don't panic. You might still get to say it. But I don't see any reason with it. There it is. I don't see any reason with basically an even pick 'em to not take Texas and A&M in this. And I wouldn't be surprised if that line does spread out by the end of the week because I think people are going to feel the same way. Give me A&M to easily cover 2.5. But this one, I feel points, and I'm going to take the over at 51.5.
See, I'm on the opposite on that. I think Texas A&M, they've had a couple of scares this year, and I think the Texas offense, albeit against lesser than opponents, has kind of come alive recently. I think Texas A&M is going to drop a game plan to try and shut them down, try and confuse Arch Manning in this offense. So I think we're going to stay under, and I think Texas A&M is going to try and control the ball on their offensive side as well. That spread is so small that I have to take Texas A&M. They're going to win this football game. They're going to go to the SEC championship. They're going to go to 12-0 for the first time, I think, since Johnny Football was there. They're having a tremendous season.
Get out your finger guns, kids.
Give me Texas A&M, but the under. Devin agrees with me there on that one. Let's go to Friday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time on Fox. This is the game we had to add in. Number 25, Arizona. They are 8-3 and a 2.5-point road favorite. So if you're picking up a pattern, road favorites is just that. In these games, they are a 2.5-point road favorite at number 20, Arizona State, who is 8-3 as well. You're over under 48.5.
All right, look, I'm not going to lie to you. I know very little about the University of Arizona's current football team, but I do know this. I do know that the University of Arizona kept Nick Foles in football, got him out of Michigan State and Lansing, gave him a place to play, and ultimately gave Philadelphia their savior and saving grace. And I am going to always trust the school that has that man in his corner. Arizona State, we all thought they were just going to presumably just be as good or as dominant as they were last year on that schedule, and it has not been the case. And I say, give me the hot rising Arizona Wildcats, the Nick Foleses. Give me them to cover. And that spread sounds low, and that game's in the West, and it's at night, and the ball flies at night. I say take the over on that one. No brainer.
Yeah, I mean this is, I don't care that it's in the Big 12 now. This is Pac-12 football. Bet the over, especially if it's under 50. I'll take that. And Arizona has been the hot team. Arizona State has a tendency to crack in these big games, and when the lights are shining bright. So I'm going to take Arizona to keep winning, not for any of that Nick Foles Eagles nonsense, but I will take them to I guess not pull the upset that with being the road favorite there.
Yes.
But I would definitely take the over. Devin has Arizona and the over as well. Now we move to Saturday and what could be a cold and snowy Ann Arbor, shades of 2021 possibly all over again. But it is number 1 Ohio State. They are 11-0, a 10-point road favorite at number 15 Michigan, who is 9-2. Although you wouldn't believe that the way that some Michigan fans are talking about their team and their coaching staff. Your over-under on this one, Big Noon on Fox, is 44.5.
Well, that I'd assume that over-under number has factored in the weather.
I would believe.
I think that would be the case. Now, rough weather, at first glance should benefit Michigan. All but being, potentially taking some of the big playability out of day's game plan for the Buckeyes. But the other big thing to remember is in those games, a lot of times it's who's bigger, who's stronger, who's been more effective in the trenches, because it's going to be a lot of running. And I understand Michigan probably does benefit, from having to run the football. But I feel like in the long run, it may feel the opposite by game's end, where you're like, wow, Ohio State just was bigger and stronger and just shoved these guys around and just fought through a victory. Now, 10 points it feels like the over-under acknowledges the weather. The spread does not, I don't think. I feel like in a bad weather game, this is going to be back and forth, and there's not going to be points scored on every possession, that's for sure. So to say Ohio State's going to win by 10, I am going to take Michigan to cover. But I ultimately think Ohio State wins this game. I feel like it's going to be in that 7 to 10 range. I think there's a good chance if it holds at 10, which I'm sure it won't, that it pushes at 10. I think that's a very realistic chance. But give me Michigan, I guess, for now. And that 44.5, I'm going to side with the weather, and I'm going to take the under.
Yeah, I think the under is the play. And I think if you're Michigan, and if you want to have a chance to win in this game, which they do have a chance to win.
Sure. See
last year's game as proof that, a team that is not as good has a chance to win in these games. But you have to keep Ohio State from scoring.
Yeah. The only reason I can't, and I would not be surprised if Ohio State managed to cover the game, because like we talked about earlier in the year, that for Day, this is the game that they've been playing for all year. It's not the ones coming up in the next few weeks. They have those, right? Like they've done that, and sure, we'd love to do it again. But hearing the loss to Michigan all year, there's no way this wasn't the circle on their schedule of like at least get this one. So I imagine they'll pull out any stops they can, bad weather or not.
Right, absolutely. But when you look at their schedule, and this may lead to why there's a 10-point spread. The last time that Ohio State won a game by less than 10 was week 1 versus Texas. Right? But again, it's the last time they've been quote unquote tested as well.
Right.
Look, it's become an annual tradition for me to be the one on this show to predict Michigan to beat Ohio State. And I'm going to continue to do that. Not only does Michigan cover the 10, but Michigan wins this game because for whatever reason, whether it's just it's there's that style of play, things are in their favor. Michigan kind of owns Ryan Day at this point. And I think that continues this Saturday in Ann Arbor. I think he's going to look across that field and he's going to see that winged helmet again. And he's just going to go through all of those motions that have gotten to him the past 4 years. And it's everything's been about this game and about this moment. And for whatever reason, they can't rise above it, and I think that continues. So give me Michigan in this one.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
All right, then we move to where we stay at noon, but we move over to ABC. It is the number 12 Hurricanes of
Miami!
they are a 7-point road favorite at 9-2 at number 22 Pitt, who is 8-3. Your over under on this one, Sean, is 50.5.
That's a big number. I'm looking at it because like all day since seeing this on the slate, potentially I've been ready to just Miami. I was like, look, Miami. I had them in my playoff. I had them winning the ACC. I had and it all could happen if they win this game. Just kind of wander in and let's go get them. But man, Pitt last week coming back from that loss the week before looked strong again, albeit against the ACC. 6.5. No, I think Miami wants to prove something. I'll take Miami. I hate taking Miami, but I also don't like Pittsburgh. So Miami cover and 50.5. If Miami's going to cover that 6.5, then I'm going to say everything pushes over them. Gonna take the over.
Very good. Devin had Michigan in the over in the last one. He has Pitt in the under on this one.
I would love it if he's right. I would absolutely.
Some people might argue that Notre Dame wants Pitt or Miami to remain competitive. I don't think Notre Dame needs anything from anybody at this point besides to win. And the fact that Notre Dame's still ranked above Miami, still ranked above Alabama, that tells me what I know this committee feels about Notre Dame. So after just hearing this insufferable honking for the last 2+ weeks by Miami fans and media members and the ACC themselves, no, Miami, get out of here.
Screw you.
I'm sick of it. Pitt wins outright, and I will take the over. I think they're kick their ass.
It would make me so happy. I've been high enough on Miami all year. I can't.
And especially because 2 weeks ago, Notre Dame went into that same stadium and beat the brakes off of Pitt. And that, like, to me, that justifies more than what happened in week 1. Because it's more about where the teams are now versus where they were 12 weeks ago. So usually I'm an eat shit Pitt household this weekend. Let's go.
You know what?
Pitt.
You've convinced me.
Let's go.
If this podcast can't be united, then no one can. Switch my pick.
There we go.
Pitt to cover and to win.
Get it done.
Screw you, Miami. I'm going to attribute it to you. Got all this extra energy going to. It's not fair. That means you're not focused on Pitt, and they're going to embarrass you.
Exactly.
Go Pitt.
Exactly. Let's go. You're not going to hear that from us.
This is the only week. This is the one you get. Let's go Pitt.
One. There you go. All right, and the last one we have for this week, number 14 Vanderbilt. They are 9-2, traveling to number 19 Tennessee, 8-3, and the only home favorite in these matchups as a 3-point favorite at Neyland Stadium. You're over/under, and this ain't your dad's SEC. 65.5.
Jesus. All right. I have been high on Vanderbilt all year. I've been excited about Vanderbilt. I think it's an exciting story. I think anytime a team called the Commodores is doing well, that's exciting. And you've had a good year. You really have. But it's been a fairly untested run, I think, for an SEC schedule. I think that's helped. Tennessee, on the other hand, has just silently crept along to a 9-3 to an 8-3 record. We really haven't predicted a lot of their games.
Nope.
But that Tennessee is a very talented football team, and anytime you're talking about a game in Knoxville, there's going to be a lot of noise there, and there's going to be a lot of people there. This is going to be a tough one for Vanderbilt to pull out, and because of that, I'm going to take Tennessee. And I think if I'm Tennessee at home, 2.5 to me feels light too. So I take them to cover 2.5 easily. And if they like a lot of points, so do I. Give me the over at 65.5.
Wow. Vanderbilt is a team that has benefited from the fact that they've played a lot of bad teams at the right time, because they played South Carolina when they were still ranked 11th. They played LSU when they were still ranked 10th. They played Missouri when they were still ranked 15th. Those are all three at the time top 10.
Right, those were
top
big
15
wins.
wins. Those are big wins. We've come to learn those wins were not nearly as good as people thought they were. When they beat Alabama, or when they lost to Alabama, it looked good because it was like a week after the Alabama had beaten Georgia and started coming back alive. But we've learned Alabama is kind of mid. We've learned that this year. They lost to Texas, who we learned is not very good. Tennessee, they've lost the 3 good games on their schedule. They lost to Georgia, Alabama, and Oklahoma. Otherwise, they beat a whole lot of nobodies, sometimes not by a lot. So I think you're looking at 2 kind of middle-of-the-road teams. That's exactly what these teams are.
But I think you're looking at one that's getting overlooked and another one that might be getting a bit overhyped. I think that's why, for me, Tennessee was the answer there.
Yeah, and I think so too. When you're looking at 2 teams that I feel like are kind of the same, I'm going to lean on the home team. I'm going to lean on the favorite, who are the same team, and I'm going to lean on, again, the same team that has what has been many times described as the hardest, if not one of the hardest environments to go into as a visiting team.
Oh, it's a madhouse.
Give me Tennessee in this one, and I'm not as brave as you are. I'm not taking the over. It'll be a slight under. I do think there's going to be a lot of points, but 65.5 is quite a lot. Devin has Vanderbilt, and most definitely the under, he says. But
I wouldn't be surprised if it hits 65 and 2/3 of them are Tennessee's.
Yeah,
they're fast. They are big play capable, and I would not be surprised to see a handful of them this week.
Yeah, and those can very easily, if Vanderbilt can answer, that's how you hit the over. But I would stay away. I would stay away from that.
By all means, don't bet that number.
Don't bet that number. Stay away from that number. But that's where we leave college football. Last weekend of the regular season. I cannot believe we're saying that. But savor it while it's here. You have 2 days of college football this weekend to enjoy. I was actually watching a little bit of Western and Eastern Michigan on the gray field up there in Michigan this evening before we went live. But let's go ahead. Let's jump into the National Football League. It is week number 13, which is, again, very hard to believe that we are that deep into the NFL season. But
where does it go?
Where does
the time go?
Nonetheless, no bye weeks this week, again, with a lot of Thursday and Friday games. The NFL doesn't give anybody off for the holiday, so sorry about your luck, millionaires. But we will start 2 games on Thursday, the 2 early day games. The 7-3-1 Green Bay Packers travel to the 7-4 Detroit Lions, who are 2.5-point home favorite. Your over/under is 49. This one, 1 o'clock Thanksgiving Day on Fox.
Yeah, I mean, more on this to come, but I finally felt like no choice but to include Green Bay in my top 10. But guess also haunting there is the Lions, and the Lions have been a little bit of an anomaly. We've seen them underperform in some games. Survived one this week that felt like they had underperformed quite a bit. Of course, no one ever knows what to prepare for when Jameis Winston on the other side. So, you survived a wild card there. Let's just call it that. Fortunately, you have Jahmyr Gibbs on your team. And I think having Jahmyr Gibbs on their team, Packers are banged up. They're also not very good. And I'm going to go with the roster that I feel is good. We've been banged up in the secondary again in Detroit. The defensive front's getting banged up again it's starting to look that like the aggressive style of play on defense, while very effective for 7 or 8 weeks, starts to really wear on these guys. They're hitting hard and they're hurting themselves. But saying that, I think whether it's their A or their B in the secondary, I think they're good enough to stop Jordan Love and the Packers. Give me the Lions on Thanksgiving Day. Give me the over at 48.5. And let's let Man Campbell eat some turkey and enjoy himself.
Yeah, Detroit, a very interesting team. Kind of really had soured on them a little bit after the Eagles loss. Just feels like they're having trouble rising up to these big moments. And then they almost didn't rise up for a small moment against the New York Football Giants. They found a way to come back because the Giants suck. So it's really kind of a who are you? I think we know who the Packers are. They're an average team that will sometimes win a couple of games in a row, and they'll look good because they play a bad team. Unfortunately, the Lions are not a bad team. Like, this used to be a great matchup for whatever NFC North team the NFL put in Detroit on Thanksgiving Day, but
It's usually a fun day for them.
it's not that case anymore. Detroit's the better team, but yeah, I think they need to reevaluate some of their business practices with how hard they play, because we're once again seeing the injuries mount. Hopefully they can get healthy at the right time, but I think they win this game. I think they cover the 2.5, and I think we do hit the over. Jahmyr Gibbs might hit the over by himself. Devin has the Lions and the over as well. Then we move Thanksgiving Day. We stay right there. 4:30 Eastern time over on CBS. It is the 6-5 Kansas City Chiefs. They're a 3-point road favorite at the now 5-4-1 Dallas Cowboys. I guess it's 5-5-1. I apologize. I think I got their record. I got their record wrong there on my sheets. Yes, 5-5-1. They're at 500. The over under on this one, Sean, is 52.5.
Well, you have a tale of two different seasons, but they're both kind of mediocre and disappointing and flashy at times and embarrassing at others. And it's actually probably a pretty solid holiday matchup. I don't think that's what the league was hoping for there. They're hoping for a solid matchup between two teams competing for a division. Not getting that, but hey, you get what you get. Everybody be tired by 4:00 anyway. Maybe a sleepy game is what we need. Chiefs survived one last week, sitting at 6-5. Andy Reid's still their coach, still love him. But I'm going to do something I have never done in a Thanksgiving week. I am taking the Dallas Cowboys at home on Thanksgiving. Help to all but bury the Chiefs' hopes in a close game and nowhere near the over-under of 52. I think Dallas will do their part. I don't think Kansas City does. I think it's a battle of a struggling offense versus a weak defense that's starting to play better. And I think that the wheels keep spinning for Kansas City one more week. Give me Dallas. Give me the under. That's your pick. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it really has been kind of a strange tale here as of late with the Dallas Cowboys. And I mean, the thing we've talked about all season has been if they can get defensive play and any sort of like competent defensive play. The kind of sky's the limit to a degree with this team because the offense is that good. And
that's kind of why I'm picking them. Is I think picking is the right way because Pickens is the reason. I think, man, what a find he's been. But I think that offense is too good for Kansas City to keep up.
Right, and that's the point I was attempting to make.
You got it.
But that's really been the name of the game. But over the last couple of weeks, and albeit one of those 2 weeks, coming out of the bye week with your new pieces was against the Raiders. This past week was kind of the tell-all, right? Like What are they going to do when there's challenging competition? Because from here until week 17, the competition is that much harder, at least on paper, or is a little bit harder. It's maybe less daunting than it looked at the preseason, but they got hit in the mouth. They're down 21-0, and they didn't blink. And new star defensive lineman Quinnen Williams apparently had a locker room speech at halftime that snapped this team together. After spotting Philly 21 points, they come back, they get the win at the end of the game. And the Cowboys defense, with that new front seven, that new defensive line, they've only allowed 90 yards or something in rushing in 2 games. They've only allowed 1 rush over 10 yards in 2 games. That's with, defending should have been MVP Saquon Barkley. And
man, that's a whole nother story for another.
And against rookie sensation Ashton Genty. So it seems to be working right now. And if that can continue, you can disrupt this Chiefs offense. Now they do get Pacheco back. That was announced today. So the Chiefs are going to bring a lot at you. I think it's going to be a tough game, but I think the Cowboys, and maybe this is the dangerous part, they're starting to make me believe a little bit. But I think they are the better team right now than the Kansas City Chiefs going into this week. So give me the Cowboys. I'll hit the homer button because it only would take somebody like me to start to believe again. And
that's what they're going to do.
And then, well, we always see it's hope's what kills you. I think that's the line from Ted Lasso. And I will take the under because I think that to beat the Chiefs, you have to limit what that offense is going to do. I think it'll be a slight under, but I will take the under. Devin has the Cowboys and the under as well. Let's move to Black Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern time on Prime Video. The 8-3 by themselves leader of the NFC North, the Chicago Bears, travel to Philadelphia to take on the 8-3 Philadelphia Eagles, a 7-point home favorite with your over-under being 44.5.
In the all black for Black Friday, from what I understand, they're wearing the all black.
Smart
Black
play.
Friday. Well, it's ironic you talked about how Dallas would do against real competition, and how the schedule gets tighter here at the end of the year, because you're looking at a Chicago Bears team that's about to go through the same thing. Chicago, since their loss against the Ravens in Baltimore, has 4 consecutive wins. Good for them. All but those wins came against Flacco and the Bengals, the New York Giants, a hapless Minnesota Vikings team, and in a very close game, and a who knows what to believe in Pittsburgh Steelers. Those were the 4 wins. Now they play Philadelphia, Green Bay, Cleveland, Green Bay, San Francisco, Detroit. That's the end of their year. And if the Bears are going to make a push, you're going to have to win at least half of those. Here's the deal. Caleb Williams has looked good. Caleb Williams has looked borderline great. Like, I'm not going to take anything away from the kid. He looks real good. And that offense has a ton of weapons, and they're having fun. We're seeing trickery pitch plays and flea flickers and reverses, and they're having a great time out there.
Fun, wonderful.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. You've not played in Philadelphia yet. This is a new place for you in your young career. It's hard. It's going to be cold. It's going to be loud, and they're gonna insult you. They're researching your social media accounts more than you've ever looked at them, because they're going to find something to embarrass you with. So be ready for that. The other thing to be ready for is a defense that can play. I know we have some injuries, but I think the Eagles' defense is the reason the Eagles are going to win this game. I think it's an angry defense. I think it's an angry offense, too. Let's hope they look angry. I don't even know what to make of it. The defense is going to have to hang on, and they're going to have to win this one probably sloppy. Give me the Eagles to do it on Black Friday. They better, because if I go back to school with 2 Eagles losses under my belt, I may as well not go back. So
time to get a new job.
Yep, let's take the Birds. in a comeback effort. I think they embarrassed themselves. I really do. I'm not going to take everything away from Dallas, but I'll take a little bit because I think a lot of that was the Eagles just hanging themselves in the second half, and I didn't like it, and it was boring, and they paid for it. They effed around and found out, and they're not going to do that this week. So give me the Birds. What's my over under on that? I backed out of the
44.5.
Oh yeah, we'll score. There'll be that many points. I think that's a fair number. Give me the over on that.
Yeah, I mean, it was 24-21 this past week. So I'm going to take a slight under on this one. I think for the Eagles to win, they're going to need their defense, slow down a Bears offense. It's, again, looked better than advertised, better than we thought. And, you know, but yeah, Philly's they're going to have to figure out that offensive side of the ball because something ain't working. I saw Nick Sirianni said they're not changing anything in terms of play calling, which I love that idea, by the way, from where I'm sitting. I think that's a great idea. But cold's not going to impact the Bears. They play in Chicago. I mean, they've played in loud environments before, maybe not as hostile as Philadelphia, but they've played in ones that are loud. I think Chicago covers the 7, and I think Chicago wins on Black Friday in Philadelphia. Give me Chicago to just keep not making any sense, moving to 9-3 on the season. Devin has a pissed off Philadelphia Eagles and the over. So Devin's on your side, Sean. And last one, we go Sunday, 4:25 Eastern time on CBS. It is the 7-4 Buffalo Bills. They're a 3.5-point road favorite at 6-5, and don't look now, Steelers fans. No longer in first place in the AFC North. Pittsburgh Steelers. Your over under on this one is 47.5.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team we've both kind of put through the ringer at different times this year. I don't think it's actually, I think people are on the edge of their seats right now because they don't know which crummy team we're going to pick to win the Crumb Bowl here. But it's been a season where like when I've needed the Steelers to keep my pipe dream of a losing season for Mike Tomlin alive, they just keep finding ways to hang right in it. And they pulled, they're just ahead of 500. And just to keep me interested going into the holiday season, I think they blow this one. I think the Bills had their rough game last week. It feels like the right time to right the ship for a few plays. Josh Allen's like, well, we're going to have to do it again. I think on a holiday weekend, I think Josh Allen comes to play. 47.5 feels low, but maybe that's because I don't think we know if Aaron Rodgers is actually playing.
The word from Mike Tomlin today, very optimistic, but he is.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to do some sort of herbal medicine, I'm sure, and find his way, rub some salve on it. Just to put the tussin on it, it'll be fine. No, I can't pick the Steelers in this game. As bad as I make fun of the Bills and as hot garbage as I think they are, I don't think the Steelers are really any better.
Rightly so.
And the Bills need to win so people can still overhype Josh Allen and say he's the MVP and do everything they do to just eventually give it to Matt Stafford. So give me the Bills to cover the 3.5, not just win, but cover the 3.5. And they will score enough points to push this over. I think they're going to have to because I don't think they're. Yes,
he's a guy on a buffalo. Which, by the way, if you've never watched those YouTube videos, that go after this show.
Go do that
and watch those classic stuff. Yeah, look, I think my favorite part about the Steelers' loss this past week is watching Ron on the sideline, watching Mason Rudolph and the whole Steelers offense line up in like a bad formation, and Rodgers is the only one that recognizes the problem, and he's like, there's this clip of him being like, no, what are you doing? And nobody on the field knew it. None of the other coaches.
None of the coaches do it.
So, like, look, everybody, and I'm not saying that Mike Tomlin is a bad football coach, certainly, never having a losing season. He's not a bad football coach. But if you want to know the status of the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, that great football coach that I keep hearing about, that it's disrespectful that anybody thinks he should be fired, you had 3 timeouts. And in a critical moment, you should have called one when your team is about to commit a penalty and end up not getting a first down, and which is going to cause you to lose that game.
Yeah, it was a pretty embarrassing play.
Aaron Rodgers is the only person that in that stadium that knew something was wrong. Like, this team is in disarray, and nothing cures a bad team off of a bad loss like playing a team in disarray. I'm a guy on a Buffalo this week as well.
Yes.
The Steelers are going to go to 500. They're probably going to continue to go under 500. Our prophecy is going to be foretold by the end of this season.
Let it be told.
And I will take the under because I don't think Pittsburgh scores enough to be able to hit that over. Devin has the Bills in the over, so at least we agree on the Bills. Devin's a guy on a Buffalo too.
Give it to him.
Good job, Dev. So we do love that again.
Man, I love the guy on a Buffalo.
The guy on a Buffalo is so good.
I'm gonna watch him. I haven't watched him in years.
Yeah, it's been a very long time for me, but just absolute pure unabridged unadulterated comedy. It's so good. So once we're done with this show, please do yourself a favor, go watch Guy on a Buffalo. But that's where we leave week 13 on the prediction side. But now we head over to the power rankings, Sean. They're top 10, the bottom 5. I will start. Actually, Sean, give your bottom 5. We'll lead off with that.
All right, bottom 5. I got the Saints at 28. I got the Raiders at 29, though they are falling. They got the Giants at 30. I got the Jets at 31, and I got the Titans at 32. I think this is the same bottom 5 I had last week, but we are primed for some shifts if things don't start.
Yeah. I think again, I think we all have the same bottom 6 or 7 here. EJ has 28 through 32: Giants, Jets, Raiders, Titans, and Saints. Mike has Browns, Raiders, Jets, Saints, and Titans. And then I have Jets, Saints, Giants, Titans, Raiders. The Raiders, man, it is.
They're the one that's fall. I mean, like, realistically,
they are imploding.
The only reason they're 29 on my list is because I hate New York.
And that's fair. That is
like, I refuse to, like, should the Giants, I was like, Giants, I don't know. Jackson Dart's going to come back. He might see stars out there. I don't know.
Well, he might see stars.
And the Jets are just as bad. Like,
I mean, they
don't even know who their quarterback is, James. They paid one.
Well, the Raiders quarterback's flipping off their home fans.
That's true.
Like, it is a mess.
Yeah,
Chip
but he's
Kelly fired.
He was promised Pete Carroll and success, at least some measure of it, and it has been, God. Can you imagine?
The Pete Carroll that showed up in Vegas is the Bill Belichick that showed up in Chapel Hill.
Like, oh my God! Like, imagine spending that pick on Ashton Genty and then being like, oh shoot, we don't have anyone to block for him.
Man, and that's the thing, man. Like, I didn't
kill Geno Smith.
I didn't want Genty to end up in Dallas because of that same fate, and man, it's bad. But Brock Bowers has been reduced to a average tight end this year.
Well, no one has time because he has to block somebody.
Like, the Geno Smith that showed up in Vegas is the Geno Smith that got knocked out in a Jets locker room.
Like, they're running 2 tight ends because they need all the linemen they can get.
It's awful. It is awful.
And they still stink.
They still stink, man. It is brutal. But yeah, it was the Raiders fell. Everybody else
and the Titans. I should have jumped the Titans in my dream list. I'd have had them above the Giants and the Jets and the Raiders with the push they had at the end of that game. But I mean, they're still bad.
They're still really bad.
They're still real bad.
All right, Sean, your top 10.
All right, top 10. A reluctant insertion here. The Packers at 10 is a sign that there aren't 10 great teams. They were just the best of what was left. I hung on to the Lions at 9. Probably should have put them ahead of San Francisco because I have a lot of questions there too. But 8, 9, and 10 are like the maybes. 7, the Bears belong. I got the Seahawks at 6. Colts holding on at 5 for now.
Bears.
They're the Bears looking good. So I got a 7-4 matchup here because I got the Eagles at 4. And then the top 3, Broncos, Patriots, who I have questions about, I'll talk about in a minute, and the Rams as the best team in football right now.
There you go. All right. EJ has from 10 to 1 49ers, Ravens, Lions, Packers, Colts, Broncos, Seahawks, Patriots, Eagles, and Rams. Mike from 10 to 1 49ers, Seahawks, Chiefs, Bears, Colts, Patriots, Lions, Eagles, Rams, and Broncos at number 1. For me, again, 10 to 1 49ers, Chiefs, Seahawks, Lions, Bears, Eagles, Colts, Broncos, Patriots, and Rams.
Very similar list to mine.
Yeah, very similar.
I don't have the Packers.
Yeah, I punished the Eagles a little bit more.
Who
The Packers.
do you have that Chiefs. You have the Chiefs.
Yeah, I have the Chiefs in. I don't like that they're in, but again, similar to the reason you have the Packers in. Once I cleared the Seahawks at 8, it's like I don't feel good about putting the Ravens there. They didn't have a convincing victory over the Jets. The Packers do not belong there. I didn't want to put the Niners at 9 because I think
I did it for the Packers because they came out and won a game without their best player. You plug in some backup guys. Presumably they're not even really their second string guy because he's on IR too. They got a rookie on IR ready to come off, but put on a good running game anyway, which you need to do because Jordan Love stinks. I don't know. He better enjoy it right now because there's going to be a much better Love in the NFL next year.
Exactly. Although I'm still secretly hoping that he decides to just come back to Notre Dame.
And you and I both have the Patriots at 2. Let me tell you why I have some issues there. I do think I love what the Patriots are doing. I love the way they're winning. And I love Drake May, and it's good to see Travion Henderson. The only issue I have with our Patriots at 2 is that I'm not sure we've seen them really beat anyone. They've won the games in front of them, which is what you have to do. But outside of a Bills team, that was their big, hang my hat on this. We've learned that that's not as great probably as it looked. It was still a big win for the franchise and for Vrabel and for May. But I do fear that if the Patriots run into one of these other teams in our top 6 or 7, they could be in some trouble.
Yeah, I think so too. To me, it's more about the Broncos couldn't pass them on a bye. The Colts.
Yeah, I also could not do that. Yeah.
The Colts lost to the Chiefs, so I had to punish them. The Eagles blew a 21-point lead and lost to the Cowboys.
Yep.
So, the Patriots, for me, last week were 4, and 2 teams above them lost. So, the math was there to move them. I wouldn't have jumped them over Philly or Indy had Indy and Philly won. So,
right.
It's more a product of the
sure. I think I had the Patriots at 2 or 3 last week though. So
you had them at 2. Yeah,
So I kept them there. It wasn't a real reason to move them, but it is something I kind of looked at as they were winning this week, and I'm going, who have they beaten? And I'm just like, man, I could have just fallen in love with a little bit of a sham, but hey, they're winning for now, and there's not really that many other great teams anyway.
I think the thing that is the worst on any of these lists for me, and he's not here to defend them this week, is the Green Bay Packers at 7 on EJ's list, and the absence of the Chicago Bears.
Right, you have the Packers, who are worse than the Bears in record. They've played very similar opponents. They've put up better offensive numbers. They have a defense that, for the most part, has played better than the Packers' defense.
Yeah.
A team that is now undefeated against the, I don't know. The Bears are currently undefeated against the, but it's a stat I didn't mention in the preview. Bears undefeated against the East, Eagles undefeated against the North.
And
something's got to give. I'm very excited for that.
Well, and also because he didn't have
The Ravens
Packers,
feels weird too. I mean, I get it. I saw them sitting out there, and I was like, I like what they're doing. They're clearly on the rise, but I don't think they've done anything for me so far that is like this team is back, right? Like,
no,
like
but
they're winning, and I get it. He likes that flashy team. The trouble for me is Lamar Jackson hasn't looked very good.
No,
Now,
but he loves himself some Lamar. He's been on this crusade of defending.
I would
Lamar.
rather see the Ravens at 9 than him have pulled the Chiefs in, because he'd have pulled them in for a different reason than you did.
Yeah,
so
but I
just
want to go back to this Packers thing, because he didn't have the Bears or the Packers on his list last week.
Oh, right, the Packers were out. I remember that.
And the Packers, I mean, yes, they won 23-6, but they beat a Vikings team that is floundering right now.
True.
The Bears beat a Steelers team that, you know, EJ and over the previous seasons, student of the game Kyle Nash have been so incredibly high on because of their culture.
Correct.
And because of Mike Tomlin and never have a losing season and all of that stuff. So, you know, the Bears, you know, they've won 4 in a row, beating 2 of the same teams that the Packers have won in their 2-game winning streak. The Packers are 3-2 in their last 5. The Bears are 4-1 in their last 5, and their only other losses came earlier in the year. So I just struggle with having the Packers that high.
Right.
And having, you know, if you want to have them in at 10 over the Niners, or if you even want to bump them in at 9 or 8, like yours, I don't think is egregious having them there. But having them at 7, they are not the 7th best.
Having them at 10 was more of a statement to the rest of the NFL.
Having them at 7 and not having the Bears in, I think.
Well, the Bears, like you have them ahead of the Lions, which I understand records are similar.
Sure.
But have the Packers really done anything over the last 5 or 6 weeks? I know the Lions have embarrassing showing, but they pulled it off. They took a couple in the chin, you know, call it bad prep, call it bad situation, whatever. I mean, the Eagles game, I think they just got out coached a little bit in that one. It was a chess match and they lost. Because I think the Lions probably looked better in a couple of their losses than the Packers have in a few of their wins. I just don't see a reason to have the Packers above those 2 teams. I think you're right. I think it's, you know, maybe he was just high on the North and had like Bears 3, Lions 4, and then all of a sudden the Packers at 7. It would still be ridiculous, but it would make a little more sense. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, again, maybe it's even more not having.
He's just a Jordan Love fan. Do we know this? It's just like a thing.
Maybe. But like, and I know like one of the reasons that like he always trusts in the 49ers and the Chiefs and to a degree the Ravens is like this pedigree of like, well, they're always kind of there. They're always kind of there. Like this Packers team hasn't won anything.
When he's getting older, dementia might settle in.
Well, that's true. That's true.
You know, you just go with what you're used to, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, Mike, I'm not ready to put the Broncos that high. I don't necessarily hate it, especially with what Philly and Detroit and Indy and a couple of those other teams have done. I kind of debated Broncos at 2 over New England.
I almost bumped the Broncos up, but the fact they hadn't played.
Right now the Rams look real good. Very good. And here's the thing, like when you talk about the Rams situation, you know, they have to be a game better than Philadelphia
right
to get home field, because they have that loss to Philly. Now the Rams are in the driver's seat because they're 1 ahead. What happened this weekend was exactly what the Los Angeles Rams needed to go into this home stretch. And if they don't flinch, the road to the Super Bowl goes through Inglewood. And
he sure does.
And that's a dangerous prospect for the NFC. as long as Matt Stafford stays healthy, that's a dangerous prospect. It really is. Anything else from the rankings?
No, I think we've pretty much covered it. Looks good to me.
All right. Well, let's get those out of here, and let's go ahead and close up the show, Sean, as only we can do each and every week.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
All right, we look ahead to the weekend that will be, and man, like I said, it's jam-packed. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. A lot of football and a lot of days ahead of us. So, Sean, what will happen? What is one thing that will happen this upcoming weekend?
Well, I'll tell you, and I'm going to bring in. Or so they say. There is no place like home for the holidays. And so your lock of the week this week, and it's a part of the reason why I was very, very unique holiday pick'ems for me and some of the choices I made earlier. The lock of the week this week is that on Thanksgiving Day, and you know what? Extend it to Black Friday because everybody's celebrating the holiday season there. Give me 4 games, not just 3. Home teams win every one, including the Baltimore Ravens at nighttime. Give me 4 home victories this year for the Thanksgiving weekend in those early games. I think that all those teams just look better to me. I think that it feels right, and it's part of the reason that hometown magic is part of the reason that I don't think the Chiefs pull it off in Dallas. So go home team. You can hit the homer button on that, I guess.
Lock it up.
Yeah,
Homer.
I was gonna say it's a homer pick, literally.
Sure is.
Literally. Devin says his lock of the week will be continuing their winning ways against the Saints. So yeah.
Oh, Devin, you jinxed it.
Very easily could. Well, they're jinxing their draft pick is what they're doing. By continuing to win, but
put all your money on the Saints, people.
Get those wins where you can get them. All right, you went NFL. I will go college football.
Perfect.
You know, and we obviously we previewed 6 big games of top 25 matchups, but it's rivalry weekend, and those aren't just games of 2 teams in the top 25, but there is a team in the top 25 that I've been calling mediocre at best. I've used the word mid a lot, overrated quite a bit, and borderline fraudulent. And there's a team who is currently in the college football playoff bracket that come next Tuesday will no longer be in the college football playoff bracket, and that is
Alabama.
A 5.5-point road favorite in the Iron Bowl. Alabama goes to Auburn. They will lose outright, and they will kiss their playoff hopes goodbye.
Lock it up.
There we go. And maybe they'll kiss their head coach goodbye. There's been a lot of buzz here in PA, around the PA media, that Kalen DeBoer may be a prime target for Penn State. So there could be a lot of moving and shift. I tell you what, if Kalen DeBoer wins, if the Alabama wins, if they go into the playoff, maybe grab a playoff win over Ole Miss, because they're going to announce a decision about Lane Kiffin on Saturday after the after Ole Miss versus Mississippi State. And here's maybe this is how I read it: that when your athletic director makes a statement the Monday before your last regular season game against your in-state rival and says a decision about the head coach Lane Kiffin will happen after Saturday's game, that tells me Lane Kiffin is not going to be the head coach at Ole Miss after this Saturday, because I think he is going elsewhere. And to me, that is wild. And that's another thing that could shake up, because I think they did address that on the rankings show today, and that will impact how the committee ranks Ole Miss if Lane Kiffin does leave. Mike's lock of the week is the Cowboys beat the Chiefs. Love that. But
lock it up.
Yeah, if Alabama wins, they go to the playoff, they grab a win, I think Kalen DeBoer is fine. If they lose and they fall out of the playoff, that it is going to get very loud once again. I'm not saying he's going to get fired, but it will get very loud in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, that door will definitely swing open.
If they're not going to fire him, but they're also not going to hold him back in the. If
they're going to remind him where the door is for sure.
Yeah, they'll be like, "It's there. I'm not telling you need to walk out it, but if you do, we're probably okay."
I'm not saying we're cutting you loose, but if someone else has an offer out there and they'd like you to go coach for them,
maybe
let us know. Maybe give us a little whisper about it.
But all right, Sean. Let's close out the show here and head into Thanksgiving weekend. Let them know how they can follow you, bud.
Well, it's coming into a holiday weekend here, so you can definitely follow me through the turkey line. Probably catch me with a mouthful of food on several occasions. Hopefully nothing on social media. But if you do want to check me out there, I'm on the Twitter at Sunshine State here in the Sunshine State, in the Sunshine City. So follow me there. Otherwise, just enjoy the weekend. Enjoy some time with family. If you're not going to see them, give them a call. And remember, the home team always wins. Go Birds.
There you go. All right, you can follow me at Big Jim Sports on Twitter and Blue Sky. But most importantly, make sure you are following the show all season long on all of our social media, Huddle Up Podcast, on Facebook, Blue Sky, TikTok, and Twitter. Instagram's at Huddle Up Podcasting. And hit the QR code. If you're on the video side, click that right there in the top right corner. That'll take you to our link tree, get you everywhere you need to be. Get our merchandise over on our TeePublic store. Hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. We've had a ton of interaction, a ton of growth on that page this year. Absolutely love that. Thank you so much for that. We're very thankful for all of you as we go into this Thanksgiving holiday. So let us thank you again. Hit that subscribe button and be with us. We have clips and shorts and everything up there on the daily. So we appreciate that. And again, going into Thanksgiving, however you celebrate, if it's with friends, with family, low key by yourself, you go out shopping, listen to music, whatever you're going to do. We hope you have a great, great holiday, and we will be back here next week. Until that time, stay safe, stay smart, and as always, go for the win.